Hi. Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday Night Live. Let's get comfortable. Let's get settled in here. I'm getting all my files in place. We've got a lot that we're covering this evening. Ooh, let me make sure you can hear me. Can everybody hear me? My mic is kind of far from my face tonight. Let me scoot in a little bit. There we go. That's about right. That's kind of close. Let's flip that. Actually, just maybe we don't need this guy tonight. Let's just try it without him. Okay. Happy Tuesday night. It's Tuesday Night Live, and tonight we have a really juicy show for you. I'm going to turn on my recording device now, so let me do that. And let's dive in. So before we dive in tonight, please tell me who's watching, where are you located, and drop some emojis in for me. I was talking to someone earlier. Because I don't get to see you face to face, your emojis and reactions really help me. They help me to, you know, see what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and then answer questions for you. So while we are recording tonight, while we are doing Tuesday Night Live, I want to invite you to use the chat to talk to me. And I'm getting my recording turned on. Okay, we're recording. Yeah, use the chat to talk to me. Use the chat to ask your questions. Tell me how you're feeling, what you're thinking. And we're going to get into some really juicy content tonight. So, we had an opportunity alert for everybody, but it's being postponed. It's been postponed for a couple of weeks. There are some things changing with it. So, that means tonight we get to just get real with each other and do some awesome coaching. While we are getting into this, I do want to say in my pane where I see the comments, if you don't consent to share your identity with me, I can't see who you are. So in the links above, in the description above, there's a link for you to share your identity. And you can click that and it just shows me who you are so I can call you out by name. If you don't want to do that, just give me your name when you make a comment so I can address you. All right, everybody. My name is Kimber. I am the founder of VertForce, and every Tuesday night, I go live with the VertForce community to a lot of times introduce opportunity alerts, sometimes interview hiring partners. Other times we do coaching, like tonight, we're doing some free career coaching that's geared towards helping you get hashtag hired. So that's what we're doing tonight. I'm excited. All right, so we've got some comments. Hannah says, Hannah, I'm in Tennessee. Hey, Hannah. Becky from Colorado. Oh, there's Taysa. Taysa's here. She is in Pace, Florida. Someone says, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and love using chat boxes to bring virtual meetings to life with big groups. Thanks for hosting these. Awesome. Thank you. Please share your identity with us by clicking the link above. And Aniko, hey Aniko, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Well, everybody, I am in Nicole from San Diego. Hey, Nicole. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. Woo! Duval. Love it here. I actually do really like it here. We've been here for about 3 months. Okay, so our show agenda tonight is, first of all, we have been advertising a giveaway for Military Creator Con and Podfest. You guys, I got bangs and I don't know what the heck to do with them. I've had those for a few weeks and they're really annoying. Hey, Caitlin. So the first thing we're going to do this evening is give away a ticket to Podfest and Military Creator Con. And right before we do that, I'm actually going to share my screen with you so you can see me do the name randomizer. So I'll share that and get it going for you in just a sec. But right before I do this, I want to share with you why we're giving away a Podfest and Military Creator Con ticket. Military Creator Con is a new conference that's going to be in Orlando, Florida this year. It is kicking off Podfest. Podfest has been around for about 6 to 9 years. I can't remember which one. but it's been around for a while. And Podfest is a group where podcasters can come together and can absolutely collaborate and learn from each other. And the reason why we are making a big deal out of this in the VertForce group is number one, I believe in Military Creator Con and the opportunity to collaborate with other military creators. I'm on the board, I'm helping organize the conference, and I'm super excited about that. Number two, it's a great career networking opportunity for you, whether you are a business owner or whether you're trying to get into the podcasting space, and you're trying to offer those services, or you want to work for an organization who does. For example, VertForce, we recently made our first or second official hire, and we had to hire a podcast editor because that's the direction our business is moving in. So if you'd like to learn about podcast editing or kind of understand how that career opportunity works, this is a great place for you to be, Podfest and Military Creator Con. So let's hop to it. If you're ready to do the ticket giveaway, give me some smiley faces in the chat, and I will wait for your smiles. We will get going. Okay, I have pulled this up on the screen. I'm hoping that everyone can see it. And we are going to go ahead and pick a random name. So I've uploaded everyone who applied for a ticket here. There are tons of names on this list. And what I'm going to do now is just click pick a random name. This is the mini web tool called Random Name Picker. Look, it's like randomly shuffling the names. And then our winner is Jennifer Roca. Congratulations, Jennifer. You are the winner. Will someone please tag Jennifer in this video in the comments? Let her know that she's won. And Jennifer, you've got 24 hours to claim your ticket. If you don't claim your ticket, or for some reason you can't make it to Podfest and Military Creator Con and you want to pass, we will pick another person from the list. All right. Alternatively, if you are interested in attending Podfest, but you didn't win a ticket, that's okay. We have a discount code that'll get you 50% off the ticket. So the ticket is, the discount code is just We Salute You. And if you need me to spell that out for you or anything, just send me a private message and I'm happy to do it. Hey, Aniko, can you tag Jennifer Roca? All right. So let's get into the juicy stuff tonight. That was fun. I love doing giveaways. I am having a Synergy kombucha, organic kombucha tonight. Has anyone ever tried these? I get so thirsty when we're doing these coaching calls. Okay, awesome. Everybody's showing Jennifer some love. All right, if you are ready to jump into our coaching tonight, give me some thumbs up emojis in the comments. And I'm going to walk you through a major question that we got this week. Okay, our big question of the week. We have seen a lot of our members in the VertForce family trying to overcome frustration and rejection and trying to stay resilient, and then also trying to understand, what the heck is going wrong? Why am I not landing the virtual job of my dreams? And overall, the question was asked, I think, by Laura Shelby. Laura Shelby asked this question and she said, please answer this tonight. How exactly do I find a virtual job? Like, how specifically do I do this? Right? She wants some specifics. So I have mapped out 5 steps to a virtual job. So what we're going to cover tonight is 5 steps to a virtual job. All right, if you're ready for step number 1, give me some ones in the chat, okay? Because I'm ready to dive into this. And I will say we had previously spent a lot of time on trying to develop and create a foolproof process. And I'm going to tell you that it will take me about 12 hours to teach you everything. We don't have 12 hours tonight. We've got about 60 minutes. So let's start with some generalized tips, a generalized guideline. Okay. So I'm seeing some ones in the comment. Let's get started. Number one is get your head right. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm here to be your friend and to tell you honestly and not modestly, you've got it. Almost 100% of this game is up here. You've got to believe in yourself and you've got to ditch the desperation attitude. So, the first step to this, to getting your head right, is accept that remote work and finding remote work is a challenge. And accept it. Just say, "Okay, I understand it. I get it. Remote work is more competitive than on-site work because it's less plentiful." It's just statistics, you know? There are fewer remote careers out there than there are on-site careers. But that's why VertForce exists. We're here because we believe that the military community should own and harness remote work, okay? So we're here to help you. But the first step to overcoming this virtual job slump is getting your head right and ditching that desperate attitude. So, one way that you can do this is take money out of the picture. I consistently see people come to VertForce, post on the VertForce Facebook group, "I am desperate. We are broke. We have bills. I need money now." I understand because I've been where you are. So, don't think I'm calloused when I say you have to separate your job search from a need. The best way to do this is to find something that you can do immediately to bring in income for your family. I recommend dog sitting, babysitting, picking up a shift at the local grocery store, picking up a shift at the local Starbucks, just something to get money coming in. Don't sit, if you are that desperate for money, do not sit around and be broke and hopeless because it's not good for your spirit. It's not good for your mind, and it's not good for your job search. I know that's a tough concept to wrap your head around, but when you separate being desperate for money from your job search, it allows you to start focusing on finding the right fit for you. And you can absolutely continue to work while you're earning income on the side. Sign up to be a rover. A rover is someone who dog sits for people during the day. My rover was a full-time rover. She made thousands of dollars a month for people just from watching people's dogs. Okay? So that is my number one tip to get your head right and ditch desperation. I'm going to talk a little bit more about number one, but if you're ready for number two, throw some twos in. And if this is helping you, throw your hand up and say, "Honey, this is helping me." And what I want for you to understand is that by breaking free from this, "I have to have it, I need to have it" attitude, you create more space in the universe for good things to come to you. When you are living in a state of constant stress, strife, "I'm worried, I'm clenched up, I can't even visualize, I just feel so down about finding this," you start to attract more of that into your life. So staying positive and staying upbeat is so important, and hopefully you can see why. All right, number two. I'm getting twos in the comments, so I got this. I don't know who that is. If you want to share your identity, you can click the link above and tell us who you are. But someone says two, and you are helping, which is totally cool. And then I get totally helping, and Taysa says, "Honey, this is helping me. Love it." Okay, let's move on to number two. Narrow your focus. And this, oh, I love this. I love this. This is your edge. Okay? This is your edge. Narrow your focus. And if you have a side gig like barista, wait staffing, babysitting, dog sitting, you have the time to narrow your focus because you've relieved that financial stress in your life. So, the first component of narrow your focus, someone type narrow your focus into the chat for me. The first component of narrow your focus is decide what you want to do by determining what you're good at. All right. One of the best exercises to get rolling on this is writing down what are your core values and then listing your top 5 core values. My number 1 core value is servant leadership. My number 2 core value is time with my family and time with my friends, impacting other people's lives, being a positive force for good. If you want to drop some of your core values in the chat now, I'd love to read some. And then number 2, what are you good at? I'm good at talking on camera. I am good at project management. I am good at communicating. These are my strengths. Okay, so if you write those things down, it gives you the freedom mentally to pursue them and say, I'm really good at running online operations. I'm really good at email. I'm really great at social media. I think I'm going to pursue the, social media manager route. Thank you guys for commenting for me. Narrow your focus. Thanks, ladies. But that's not all. Okay. Sometimes, especially if you're a military spouse, the right way to start for narrowing your focus is what kind of job is the right fit? Because sometimes we don't know what we're good at, right? Especially if we have not had a lot of work experience. Someone says, good question. I have no idea what I'm good at. Yeah, girl, I've been there. And it comes with experience. And if you don't have experience, maybe I'm good at being a friend. I'm good at following through on things. I'm good at not letting things slip through the crack. Or I'm good at being very creative. And a lot of times that means a lot of things slip through the cracks. But write those down. And then what I'd like for you to do next is determine what kind of job is the right fit. This is fun because a lot of you haven't asked yourself this question, and you're coming to VirtForce and you're coming to the job board and you're applying for everything. And let me tell you, we read every single one of your resumes. We read every single one of your cover letters. And sometimes I can tell that you're applying to everything because you're desperate and you haven't considered what job is the right fit for me. So the first question to ask yourself when you're determining what kind of job is the right fit is, do you need a quiet office or do you need a not quiet office? Honey, this is slang for can I have my kids at home or not? A quiet office means your kids cannot be in the room. They're not going to be able to be screaming mommy in the background or watching TV in the background or needing your attention. A not quiet office is slang for as long as you get your work done and you do your job and you meet your deadlines, we don't care. We don't care who's there. Okay? So that's your first question. Determine if you need a quiet office or a not quiet office. Drop in the comments right now which one is right for you. That also will lead you to your next revelation, because there are certain types of work that are appropriate for a quiet office and there are certain types of work that are not appropriate or they don't have to be conducted in a quiet office. For example, project-based work. You are not logged in on a computer, on a timetable, on Zoom calls with your manager all day. Project-based work is generally done on your own time. Commission-based work also can primarily be done on your own time, typically, right? Sometimes in both of those situations, you may have to take a client call here or there. So what does this mean for you? It means, do you need childcare or not? We have a comment over here from Caitlin. I'm going to bring it on the screen. Family and flexibility are key for me right now. I'm a strong problem solver, communicator, quick learner. I absolutely enjoy teacher or operations management, but I'm definitely in the not quiet office realm right now, or quiet office with early morning, evening hours. So, what I would like for you to do is when you're applying for VertForce positions, look for the quiet office or not quiet office distinction and apply selectively. Don't put yourself out there for something that doesn't actually meet your core value, which is family and flexibility, right? Narrow your focus. Then there's hourly pay and salary pay, which is typically great for a quiet office environment. And I'm going to be really honest with you right now. I'm so optimistic. I am one of the most optimistic, forward thinking people you'll ever meet. But I will tell you, if you have kids at home and you're watching those little ones through the day and it just doesn't make sense to pay for childcare, the hourly and salary work is going to be harder to come by. So don't turn your nose up at commission based positions and don't turn your head away from project based pay or project based work or gig based work. And gig based work is where it's very much like project based work, which is where you're given a budget and you're told to go do the job in this, but and this is what you're getting compensated, period. There's nothing additional there for you. Let's see here. I'm going to pull one more comment on the screen. This is from Becky. Becky says, I just completed a project on military spouse recruiting curriculum. I was paid $35 an hour. It was a great experience, and I'm connected with them for further work. That's from Becky. Becky, that's awesome. Military spouse recruiting curriculum. Cool. That's an interesting curriculum to be working on. So, Becky, that does sound like project-based work. I'm not sure. Thanks for sharing, Becky. All right, and we're going to put a new unit up in the Facebook group to explain the difference between project pay, hourly pay, salary pay, and how the quiet office versus not quiet office sort of is dependent on those. All right, so this was all about narrowing your focus. If you're starting to get ready for our third point, drop threes in the chat for me. Let me wrap up this narrowing your focus concept. What this should do for you is allow you to identify what job is the right fit for you and what job is not the right fit for you. Because if you are just full force throwing your resume out there at every opportunity you can get it in front of, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, you are setting yourself up for failure. It is just going to break your heart. When you are consistently getting rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection because you're just throwing your resume out there willy-nilly at everything, you're just putting yourself in a position to be even more depressed. All right? But again, if you get your head right, you separate money from this, you separate your self-worth from your employment because your self-worth is not dependent on your employment. I should have talked about that in number 1 some more, but somebody put that in the comments. Your self-worth is not dependent on your employment, all right? You are an amazing, wonderful military spouse and or veteran, and we are proud of you, and you're amazing. All right, let's move on to number 3. So now that your head is right and you've narrowed your focus into, I know what's right for me and I know what's not right for me, then you can get your rear in gear. Number 3 is get your rear in gear. I just made that up because it rhymes and it makes me laugh. All right, so this is how you're going to get your rear in gear. And brand investor team, I'm going to ask you to tag in some resources here as we roll. And I apologize, I'm putting you on the spot, but I know you're all amazing and you'll help me. I've got some VertForce volunteers with us tonight, so I know they're going to help. The first thing that I want you to consider is what I like to call, sometimes I call this your packaging. When you're applying to jobs, hiring managers and recruiters are going to look at several primary things. They're going to look at your LinkedIn. They're going to look at your resume. They're going to look at your cover letter and anywhere else that you show up online. Okay. So when I say get your rear in gear, I mean, I want you looking like a superstar on your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn. I want you looking like a pro. And we have amazing resources to help you do that. Okay. So let's talk about each of these. LinkedIn image. Okay. If you don't have a LinkedIn, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. But think seriously about taking on the LinkedIn concept. We have a podcast episode, which I'm going to ask Becky or Aniko or Angie if you guys could tag in the comments our podcast episode from Jamie Chapman. Jamie is a LinkedIn evangelist, and she spent a really long time educating the VertForce community about LinkedIn and why it's important. Sorry, let me mute this. My cell phone, and why it's important. So I want you to understand it. On LinkedIn, you should be developing a personal brand. A personal brand is just your look, not physically, not your face. I mean, your profile picture does need to be a nice professional photo of you, but your look is how people experience you online. What color cover photo are you using? What does your cover photo say about you? Did you make it in Canva to have a specific tag about yourself and what you're good at? Okay, you want to show up as a consummate professional on LinkedIn. You also want to have a killer headline. All right. If you have seeking new opportunities in the headline of your LinkedIn account right now, if you take nothing away from this training, go to your LinkedIn and change that. All right. Your LinkedIn headline should be what you're good at and how you're good at it. All right. Two very easy things. I also really like to incorporate who you do it for. All right. So, for example, I think mine says something like I'm a virtual team specialist, problem solving for remote teams in the government contracting space or in the military spouse space. That is the direction you want to go in. Okay. So, we have a blog post called What the Heck is a Personal Brand and Why Do I Need One? If one of our amazing brand ambassadors could hop over to our website and pull in that blog post, What the Heck is a Personal Brand and Why Do I Need One? That would be amazing. So that's all of the time I'm going to spend on LinkedIn. We could probably build a whole course on Get Your Rear in Gear, number 3. And maybe we might do that this year. Who knows? But let me move on to the next component of Get Your Rear in Gear. And that is the bones of your resume. You have to have a resume bone structure in place, a blank slate, sort of, ready to be tailored for every position that you're applying for. We'll get to tailoring in a minute, but I want your resume to be formatted perfectly, and I want it to have some really juicy, meaty content. I'm not gonna spend too much time on resumes right now because in a few minutes, I'm going to bring up an anonymous and redacted resume, and I'm going to critique it for you live. But that's going to be after we get through these 5 steps. Because if not, we might never get through the 5 steps. But I'll teach you specifically this evening what we can do to make our resumes better and get the bone structure in place. Now, let's just go ahead and talk about tailoring. There are a couple of different schools of thought on applying for jobs. Some people actually coach apply everywhere. And the only thing you have to tailor for your resume is your objective. That can be true. However, That is only if you are consistently applying for the same kind of position over and over and over again. For example, if you are applying for a virtual assistant role over and over and over and over again, you need one resume for virtual assisting, and you need to just go in and edit the objective of the resume every time you apply, right? That makes sense. But if you are transitioning opportunities, so say this week you're applying for a customer service position, next week you're applying for a sales rep role, the week after that you're applying for a junior project manager opportunity. That resume has to be tailored for every different opportunity, not just the objective. The reason why? The hiring managers for all of those different positions are looking for different skills. So if you're applying for a junior project manager role, you're going to want to highlight your data analytics skills, your scheduling abilities, um, your ability to multitask. If you're applying for a customer service position, you want to highlight your client relationship skills and bring those closer to the top. Elaborate more on how many different uh, phone calls and tickets you've taken in the past and previous customer relationship oriented opportunities, right? Yeah. So I hope that makes sense. But when you are applying to different positions, the general rule of thumb is tailor, baby. Let me tell you this. You may think, I don't have the time to do that. Yes, it is time consuming. However, if you do it once, the next time you apply for a similar role, so if you apply for a junior project manager role this week and you spend an hour or 2 hours tailoring your resume, the next time you have a junior project manager role populate, you can apply again immediately. And it doesn't take as much time the second go around. I have a hiccup. Excuse me. All right. Is this helping you? If this is helping you, throw something in the chat so I know. If I'm boring you, we will move on. Tell me you're over it and we'll keep going. All right. So that's my perspective on resumes is that they should all be tailored. And I'm going to say this, I think I've said it already, but I will say it again. If you are sending the same resume and cover letter to VertForce over and over and over again for every position, hey, we've read it more than you've read it at this point. And it shows lack of initiative and it shows lack of desire for the job. You may be one of the most motivated and desiring candidates there are on the list, but we can't interpret that because you're just sending a cookie cutter resume and cover letter that we have seen, even from you. We've seen it from you in particular multiple times. All right. I hope that doesn't hurt your feelings. I hope that you understand I say that with love, and I say that because I want to help you. Cover letter bones. So the cover letter bones is the same concept. We want some big juicy statements in the cover letter that just are intuitive of who you are reflective of what your personality is like. And remember, your cover letter should not be a verbatim mirror of your resume. Nor should it be 2 sentences. Hi, my name is Alabama, and I am interested in this job because I need a job and it sounds cool and I think I would be a good fit. That's cute, but it's not good enough. All right. So a cover letter should absolutely fill in the gaps of your resume. So if your resume is really technical and it says, I am great at horse training. I'm very caring with animals, and I've trained over 42 horses, and I've worked with 67 horse jockeys in client relationships, and I've managed those great well. Then your cover letter should tell us what makes you great at working with horses and what makes you great at working with horse jockeys. This is a completely random example, but what I'm trying to communicate here is your cover letter is like your best accessory. You know, you do your hair and your makeup, but something just sets off your look when you put your favorite necklace and earrings on, right? Or you put on your favorite purse or your favorite scarf. Your cover letter is accentuating the data that's already in the resume. So we want you to have a good bone structure for your cover letter. But remember, the cover letter also needs to be updated for every position that you apply for. What kind of content do you update in a cover letter? In a cover letter, we want to see, a hiring manager wants to see that you have used content from the job description to point out in the cover letter why you fit the job description. Okay? If the job description says, we are looking for a type A go getter, self motivated individual who manages horses and jockeys well, then your cover letter should explain and give examples of how and why you are type A, you are a go getter, and you have managed horses and jockeys in the past. Does this make sense? Does anyone have questions? Taysa is saying, it makes so much sense. Take time to individualize each application. I have a Google Drive with folders for each category. Those of you who are watching, if you have questions, drop them in the comments now. Would love to answer some questions on this. All right, if you're ready for number 4, I guess we only have 4 steps tonight. I think I combined 2. So the next thing that we're going to chat about is networking. When you have your package together, you've got your LinkedIn ready, you've got your resume ready, and you've got your cover letter ready, then you are ready to start networking. I wouldn't start networking until I was ready to send, because when you're networking, someone will be like, oh, hey, yeah, girl, send me your resume and I'll send it to my manager. If it's not ready and it takes you 3 days to get it to them, that's not a good response time. It's not reflective on you. So don't start networking until your pieces are in place. And when you're working on your resume and cover letter, please remember we have amazing career coaches who will give you an hour of free service to help you get things ready. And I will say there are a lot of free resources out there to help you build a resume and build a cover letter. I am not going to talk negatively about any of those because I've seen great resumes come from free services and I've seen not great resumes come from free services. So if you are going the free route, I encourage you to get your resume in front of a lot of different people, not just one person, because you may have one person at a volunteer organization or a nonprofit who says this is great, you're good to go, when in reality, you might not be. So if you are going the free route and you're not patroning a career coach to help you, that's my big advice. Get a second opinion. Okay. So networking, network your fanny off, honey. Informational interviews is where it's at, and following up is where it's at. LinkedIn is a killer place to start the informational interview process. And the best way to do that is make friends on LinkedIn. Ask people that you're interested in doing their job, ask them if they'd be willing to talk to you about it. But here's my number 1 tip for informational interviews. Don't make it about you. People love to talk about themselves, right? They don't want to talk about other people. I mean, it's just we're selfish. We're human. That's who we are. So if you, by any chance, want to work for, I don't know, what's a company? Tesla. Say you want to work for Tesla and you were able to get someone from the Tesla organization on the phone for an informational interview. Have 5 to 10 questions ready for them about them. Get them talking about themselves. They will warm up, they will light up, they will have good feelings about you. And then you can ask them for an opportunity to take the conversation forward, or let them know, by the way, I'm interested in applying at Tesla. Do you have any tips on how I can make that a successful venture for myself? Don't ask them for a job. Don't say, hey, you work at Tesla. I want to work there too. Can you help me get hired? No, that's not networking. Networking is building relationships. All right. Make friends. Friends help friends get #hired. All right. All right. Becky messaged me. Let me see what Becky said. She was trying to get the blog post in. Okay. She can't find the blog post. That's okay. I'll post it in later. All right. Follow ups. Honey, 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 don't forget about these. All right, follow ups. After you have an informational interview with someone, always send them a follow up saying thank you for your time, quote something specific you learned from the informational interview, and move forward. Tell them you'd love to chat again, or whatever you feel like that natural next step is, go for it. But send the follow up immediately after the conversation. Don't wait a week. All right, so we're ready for number 4. That was number 3, get your rear in gear. And the whole concept of number 3 is make sure you're ready and make sure your LinkedIn is ready, your resume bones are ready, your cover letter is ready, and make sure you know the process for informational interviews and then hit the ground running. Number 4, start job searching and apply. My biggest tip here is do not passively apply. All right. Intentionally target. I said this earlier. If you are throwing your resume out there willy-nilly, you are setting yourself up for heartbreak. So I want you to intentionally apply. However, bear in mind, you need to be applying for real and attainable opportunities. Okay. If you have 0 work experience relevant to a specific field, you can't go apply for a grandiose company and expect them to acknowledge you. For example, say, what's a good example here? The Huffington Post? I think they are incredibly selective about who they hire to write. I know that they pick up 1099 contractors all the time, but as far as joining their staff, they are incredibly selective. So if you want to be a writer, but you have no writing experience and you have not even finished your bachelor's degree in writing yet, or your associate's degree or your master's degree, applying for the Huffington Post is not realistic. And if you do that, you are going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to set yourself up for heartbreak. So, baby steps. We can absolutely get you there, but you absolutely have to have an adequate amount of work experience, an adequate amount of education for the job that you're aiming for. Not all jobs require a ton of experience or a ton of education. We bring several to VertForce that don't require either. We bring several to VertForce that require both. So that goes back to narrowing your focus. Understand what your skills are and understand what your education is and what you're qualified for. Don't shoot so far ahead that you're not going to land anywhere where you need to be landing. So, if you don't have the correct experience that you need to start small and start applying at organizations who can get you experience, and then set a 12-month goal or a 24-month goal to get to that next step. When you are job searching, what I want you to do is check the VertForce job board every day. New things pop up on the job board every day, and I want you to read every job description. Some titles can be misleading. For example, last week we had a code researcher position on the job board, and a lot of people overlooked it because they thought it was web code like HTML, Java, that kind of code research, when in reality it was municipal code research. And it was an amazing opportunity for a military spouse with no education or no experience. It was a great work. So even if unless it specifically says we are looking for an engineer or we are looking for a licensed teacher, read the job description, because you may find that what's in the job description is totally applicable to your skill set. The next thing I want you to do is check the VertForce page every week in the files location for our compiled list of virtual and remote work job searches. Someone said, really? Yes, really. It's a municipal code position. So our job board is located at jobs.vertforce.us. Thank you, Aniko, for dropping that in the comments for me. And so we were talking about the job file. Our volunteer team goes to every job board every week, and they scour for remote work. It's so cool. It's a really fun project to work on every week if you ever want to volunteer for VertForce. That's what our brand ambassador team does. And what they find are just every job on the internet for that week that could be virtual or remote. Use that. Use it for sure. Then I want you to develop the remote work job search skill for yourself. I want you to be comfortable going to every job board that you can find, typing in the word remote or work from home, and then browsing the list of positions. There may be something that we missed. Don't stop applying, but only apply to things that meet your core values, that align with what you need, and that match your education and work experience. All right, we got through the 4 points. We're live for another 10 minutes. We are also going to do some live resume critiquing and coaching. If you're ready, type resume coaching in the comments now and let's get into it. I'm going to take a brief moment to sip from the kombucha. Again, if you are ready for live resume coaching, we're going to spend the last 10 minutes of tonight's Tuesday Night Live looking through a resume. Oh, yes. Oh, I love when I do that. I already had it pulled up. Let me just change the name here. I'm going to change the name because I don't want this person's name revealed on the live stream. So if you will give me just 1 minute. Sample. Okay, I'm going to check the comments. Are we ready? Resume coaching, resume coaching, resume coaching. Oh, Taysa was talking about, yeah, Taysa said the brand ambassador program with VertForce is really fulfilling. She did it for 8 months. It was awesome having Taysa on the team. All right, we're ready for resume coaching. Let's break into it. So I'm going to put my screen share back up. Ooh, I'm really hoping you guys are going to be able to see that. Ooh, I don't know if you can see this. Let me check on my cell phone what you can and can't see. Hang on just a second. How do I get over to the VertForce group? All right, I'm looking. It's not on my screen yet. Did I put it up? Oh, gosh, I'm going to have to press play. Oh, Taysa was talking about. Oh, there's such a delay. The brand ambassador program with. All right, I'm looking. It's not on my screen yet. Did I put it up? Oh, gosh, I'm going to have to press play. No, you can't see it. Oh, Taysa was talking about. Oh, there's. Yeah. Okay. Let me think here. Let me see if I can upload a file to this. I'm sorry, this is going to take just a minute. Share screen. Oh, no, I can. Share. I was doing it wrong. You can see it now. Great. All right, let's get into this. All right, so what I'd like to point out here is we are looking at a functional resume. If you notice, right off the bat, we are not looking at a chronological resume. This person has her resume organized. Oops, sorry, I still have it in redaction mode. This person still has her resume organized by, or doesn't still have, just has it organized by functional area. Administrative and secretarial experience, customer service and sales experience, childcare experience, computer experience, other experiences, education, and awards. This is called a functional resume. To be transparent with you, functional resumes are typically used to conceal gaps in resumes. I'm not saying that the hiring manager is automatically going to perceive that if you use a functional resume. In fact, I really like functional resumes because they tell me that you took the time to read the job description and then organize your resume according to how you feel. Can you guys still see? How you feel your experience applies to the position. A few things that I'm noticing right off the bat are that there are a lot of jobs here. This is a 3-page resume. Pro tip number 1, if you can get your resume to 1 page and shortly and concisely explain to me your work history over the span of 1 to 2 pages max, you're a pro. You're someone I want on my team. You're someone I want to interview. Okay? This is 3 pages, so that is my first concern. My second concern is that there are too many positions on this resume. I'm not sure. This says it is a fitness trainer resume, so I'm not sure in particular why everything here would be relevant. But I'm going to tell you what a hiring manager thinks and sees and perceives when they see a ton of positions. A hiring manager says, "Wow, this person doesn't stick around long." And we don't want to give that impression. And a lot of times people are thinking, well, regardless of what I put on here, they're going to see the duration that I spent at each facility and know that I don't at each employer and know that I don't stick around long because of the constant moving and PCSing. That's a risk you're going to have to take. But if you narrow it down and you can get your positions listed on 1 to 2 pages in a very refined and concise way, they know you've had more work experience. They know you've had more than 3 to 5 jobs in your entire life. But they also know that you've been intelligent and selective enough to only pose the positions for them that actually apply to the one that they're hiring for. Does that make sense? If you're catching on and you understand why you would want to narrow this position down, give me some smiley faces in the comments. Like, for example, being a team member at Pizza Hut for 4 months in 2014 is not relevant to becoming a fitness trainer today. Friend, please don't take this personally. You know I love you. I know who you are, even though you're redacted here. So please know that I'm saying this out of love and support. So those are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're tailoring your resume. So if this were going to be a fitness instructor resume, I would cut that position for sure. I would potentially cut the carpenter's helper position from 2009 to 2011. I would cut the housekeeper position, the landscaping position, and I might cut one more. I might cut childcare, but I can see how childcare could be relevant to teaching a class or teaching a person. So that's a big pro tip that I'm giving you right now. Narrow this down. We don't need to see everything you've done in your entire work history. I believe that's a difference between a CV and a resume, and I could be wrong here. I'll look it up after the live stream, but a curriculum vitae, and I may be pronouncing that wrong too, is everything you've ever done your whole life in chronological order. And when you're trying to get into law school or you're trying to get into medical school or you are specifically a doctor and you're applying for those kind of positions, they want to know everything you've ever done because you are extensively being researched. But if you are just applying for a position, you want to look like you were molded and cut out for the role that you're applying for. Moreover, you want to make it as easy on the hiring manager as possible to decide that they want to hire you. Really, to decide that they want to interview you. So, how can you sell me in 1 page, 2 pages max, that I need to call you for an interview? It is not by listing everything you've ever done. Okay, I'm going to hop off that horse. Let me check the comments over here. All right, learned something new. Did not know you could omit some work history. I was told I had to list some things with resumes today. No, yeah, you can omit whatever you want. For example, I omit all of my sales rep work, even though I did it for a long time and I was I was the number one sales rep in the Gulf States. I don't want to do sales anymore. I don't want a hiring manager to ever look at me and think, oh, she would be great for our sales department because it is not my core value. So I just pull it right out like it never happened. I would also cut out references upon request because it's a given that they will ask for it. That's a good point. You don't if you're trying to keep the resume down to 1 or 2 pages, you don't need a full line that says references from available. They know that. If they need it, they can ask for them. Also, if you've applied for a job that requires a security clearance, I believe, Aniko says, a CV. Aniko, yeah, that might be relevant. Well, when you apply for a job that needs a security clearance, you can provide a standard resume. If you are pursuing a security clearance, the government is going to send you a form called an EQIP. And an EQIP is a comprehensive, full life autobiography that you have to fill out and go through. So if anyone's ever pursuing that route, there's a heads up for you. Okay, so let's move on to my next suggestions for this particular resume. I want to point out some things that are done well. The writer of the resume has done a really great job in using verbs to start the sentences. And that's a pro tip that I use and I look for. I don't want to see sentence form under your descriptions. Writing in sentence form under the for example, we're looking at the sales associate, Marine Corps Community Services, Quantico, Virginia. Sorry, Quantico, Virginia. I don't want to see a paragraph here. This person has done a really great job of bulleting off her strengths and primary responsibilities at this position and starting each bullet with a verb in past tense. All right, what I want to recommend is that your most recent and most applicable position should have maximum 5 bullets, and every other position you should try to minimize to 3 bullets. If you can't get it down to 3, do not exceed 5. And with some creative writing, you will be able to do that, I promise. This, for example, operated point of sales at cash register. A little short to be taking up a full line on a resume where real estate space on this 8.5 by 11 sheet is sparse. We don't want to waste a full line on 6 words. Also, I would bring these bullets all the way out and align them with the edge of the sales associate, secretary, desk clerk, correspondent. Align them that way because you're also wasting real estate by indenting these bullets. And this is all going back to that strategy to getting it down on one page. I'm not trying to get you to cram. I just want you to think strategically about the 8.5 by 11 square inches that you've got to work with here. So operated point of sales at cash register, and the next bullet says conducted markdown on merchandise items. The third bullet says interacted with customers such as tour bus events, FBI agents, students, military personnel, and government personnel. All right, let's rework this section. The most important thing about your sales associate experience to me is that you have been able to manage and deal with multiple clients of different backgrounds. That bullet seems like it should be at the top. It seems like it's secondary to operating a point of sales to me personally. I could be wrong, and it certainly depends on which job you're applying for. I think what should be demonstrated here is your ability to quantify who you worked with and their backgrounds. We're a little bit over time, but I'm going to finish this thought process up, give you one more tip, and then we're going to wrap it up, okay? So for example, I would change interacted with customers such as tour bus events, FBI agent, students, military personnel, and government personnel. I would change this to something like proficiently managed customer expectations among demographics including including the FBI, military, and government. Okay? It's shorter and it indicates that you did something more than interacted. So you could even just say manage the customer expectation in the demographic of FBI, military, and government clients. That's a little rough because I'm doing this live and I'm doing this kind of on the fly. I haven't got a chance to really look at this resume yet, but we've shortened it and we've said you did something. You didn't just interact. You managed expectations, honey. You understood the full sales associate life cycle. You didn't just interact with people. You made sure they were happy, right? So I would bump that up to the top. And I'm going to finish that thought. And the next tip that I want to give you is the last tip that we have time for this evening. Thank you all for hanging in here with me tonight for this long coaching session. I know it has been very juicy and very fruitful. But here is my next tip for you. Also, you're missing your objective statement up here. You're going to get 2 tips. I'm not done. 2 tips. First of all, you need an objective statement in this area before any of your experience begins. And in your objective statement, this should be where the customized portion of your resume comes in. Every time you're transitioning positions, you need to update your objective statement to say, I'm seeking a position with blank company or with this type of company. If it is a customer service company, say, I'm seeking a customer service position. If you know the name of the company, say it's Aira. Say, I'm seeking a position with Aira to perform this activity. You need your objective statement there. And then finally, the last tip I'm going to leave you with tonight is quantify. Quantify, 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 quantify. See if you can say that 10 times fast. Numbers attract eyeballs, and they will also help detract the hiring manager from focusing on the dates where you worked somewhere. So for example, under correspondent, this resume says wrote and emailed response letters. First of all, that's too short. Those are 4 words and an ampersand, taking up a whole line on a resume. Too short. And it also doesn't tell me what kind of letters, how many letters, what the purpose of these letters were. This is at the Christian Broadcasting Network. This would be better if you were able to say, developed copy for handwritten and digital response letters. It would be even better if you could say, managed or oversaw 12 consecutive projects, copywriting response letters for 365 people. See, from what you've told me in this resume, I don't know enough about what you did to quantify it, understand its purpose, or understand how you engaged in it. So you really need to try and quantify, well, let's see, every month I had to do an email list for 365 people. So I can say for the full year that I was there, I managed 12 projects where I wrote the copy for 365 correspondents. You can even take that a step further if you want to, and I'm making these numbers up, people. But if that were the case, if you had 365 people that you were writing and you wrote them for 12 months in a row, then you effectively wrote 4,380 letters. And you could very accurately fluff this up and give it fluff is not the right word, put some juicy concrete data in here and say, you know what? I was the project manager for our copywriting campaign, and I was responsible for writing 4,380 response letters, which is much better than I wrote and emailed response letters. All right. Thank you to my very special friend who let me critique her resume live on live coaching tonight. And let me wrap up some of these comments. What kind of format would you recommend for this resume and also for moms? Could moms list that as experience? I don't have a problem with you listing motherhood as experience, but a lot of people do. I'm a little more lenient, but a lot of our VertForce recruiters that we've worked with in the past seem to have an issue with it. If you don't have experience, go pick up some volunteer work. You can volunteer with VertForce. You can volunteer with a plethora of other organizations. Get an internship under your belt to start putting things on your resume, and understand that this is a process and it takes time. And if you don't have the experience and you're getting rejected job after job after job, it's probably pointing back to lack of experience. And then we have, yes, recruiters and hiring managers want to see what is the result of your job or duty. And Becky says that. So talking about that resume again, we want to know what you did, but we want to know how what you did impacted the daily function of that company. We want to know why your role was important. All right. Happy Tuesday night, everybody. So much love and so much gratitude for you joining in on this coaching session. I hope that it has helped you. If you have any additional comments, please throw it in the chat and we'll try to answer them as quickly as we can. Good night. Bye, everyone.